Welcome to Dr. Walls and Friends on the Sisters in Harmony Network, and we are here today with Miss Melody Van Putten, author, education consultant. What else am I missing? Historian,
Poet,
yeah. Songstress, just all around diva.
Okay. Divinely inspired, victorious African.
Okay. Give it to the camera again.
Diva.
Yes.
Divinely inspired, victorious African.
I love it.
You can use it.
I'm a diva too.
Yes, you are.
Okay.
Yes, you are.
That is perfect.
He'll edit it out.
Look, no, he will keep that. That's staying in there. So it is so wonderful. Thank you so much for inviting us into your home today.
It is a pleasure to have you. Truly, it really is.
And we were talking off camera. We have been trying to get together since August 2011. And by divine order, it happened today.
By divine order.
Yes.
And so we give thanks.
Yes, we do.
Absolutely.
Yes, we do. So now tell me, when I first met you, you had two books. You
Yes.
had Obama Time.
Yes.
And you had Soul Poems.
Yes. Yes.
Right.
They are right here.
Exactly.
Right?
And so since then, you have birthed some additional.
Yes, 2 additional books. One book called Sacred Thoughts, God is the Light, and the Light is All There Is, which is prayers, affirmations, meditations, and praise poetry.
Okay.
I had a serious illness, and during that time, gave me time to really reflect and think and give thanks, and that for me always comes out through writing.
Okay.
The most recent book that has just been published is Healing History.
Okay.
Reflections on race and forgiveness in prose and poetry.
Lovely. And
that book really fits in hand in glove with my work of writing curriculum, doing teacher training, and consciousness work in general.
Okay. Okay. Let's talk about that, because you shared a piece with us earlier. Libations.
Yes.
Okay. And then that one came from Healing History?
Yes, that's true.
So now this is your most recent piece. I often talk to authors about the birthing process of books and getting past their fears and recognizing even signs and, let's say, symbols that happen in our life to let us know it's time to write.
Yes.
How did you know it was time to write that book?
Well, the book starts out with me watching a program called Slavery by Another Name. And that program, which appeared on PBS in February of 2012, talked about the convict leasing system. Most of us are not aware of that system, of how after Reconstruction, black men mostly, but some boys and women, were unceremoniously rounded up to do work that white folks did not want to do or pay for. It was a substitute for slavery. But it was worse because the people had no vested interest in their property.
Okay.
Right? And so laws were created to quote, legally round up people. You see, there's a loophole in the 13th Amendment that says that you can make a person work if they have committed a crime or they owe you money. So they would have vagrancy laws, for example. So if you were, quote, loitering or you didn't have a job, that was a crime, and now I put you in prison.
Gotcha.
And then from there, I would lease you out to companies who didn't want to hire people.
Oh, wow.
Hence, convict leasing. And the companies, again, had no vested interest, so they would literally work you to death or close to death, and then just get another convict, because the states were making money in this system. When I became aware of it, it got into the marrow of my bones, truly. I felt rage, I felt pain, and the pain of it would not leave me. And so that's when I knew I had to write, because I couldn't get rid of the pain.
Wow.
And it was through prayer that was like, well, you need to be writing. And so I begin the book talking about and documenting this dismal episode in our history And then the book began to just write itself.
Yes.
Because once we got through what actually happened, and that's the prologue, and my reaction to it in terms of the pain, then I went through, well, how did we get here? How did we get to this point? So I start at the beginning, which is why I did the libation, because that's who we really are.
Yes.
Right? And I talk about, I have a piece in here called Inventors, because we were the first inventors. Right? But then I begin to talk about that process that has taken us and led us to this place. I wrote a piece called, When Did We Stop Being African? And from there, then start to work from there. But then the book kind of takes a turn, which is one reason why I call it Healing History. Because there are some aspects about our painful journey that we have internalized that we need healing from.
Yes.
And only we can do that work.
Yes.
I call it the inside work for the next level of outside change. Only we can do that work. So whether we're dealing with hair issues, and there's a poem about hair, whether we're dealing with colorism, whether we're dealing with materialism, whether we're dealing with our miseducation, those are only things that we can change. We must change those things. And we can only change those things. And that's part of our healing. In fact, until we do that, we will not get healed. And if we're waiting for somebody else to do it, it ain't never going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
Right.
So really taking responsibility.
Taking responsibility. Yes. Yes.
I love it.
Absolutely.
I love it. Well, would you share another piece for us at this time?
I would. I would love to. One of the things that happened as I was going through this, and in fact, one of the reviewers said that the book was both celebratory and mournful. Mournful because there's a lot of pain in our history.
Yes.
But then we have to get to that light at the end of the tunnel. And so I wrote this piece called Reconciliation, because that's part of where we have to go. We have to reconcile.
Yes.
I'm trying to reconcile contradictions linked by knowledge. Historically speaking, it's been a brutal path. My people, oh my people, kidnapped, raped, branded, forcibly transported, shackled down. Death ships, stench-filled, carrying Africa's best. The strongest of the strong, surviving the unsurvivable. A lesser people would have died out, bowing to genocide. But they didn't, and we're still here. I'm trying to reconcile contradictions linked by knowledge. Historically speaking, it's been a brutal path. Enslavement, chattel style. History, culture, language, God, humanity, stripped. What was my name? Segregation, convict leasing, Jim Crow laws, KKK lynching, inferiority labels, the indignities list, nearly endless. But we're still here, and our people are in need of repair, healing. I'm trying to reconcile contradictions linked by knowledge. Historically speaking, it was a glorious path. God's first people, creating the foundation for civilization, imagining, conceiving, creating, building, inventing, exploring, being. That is who we really are. And we're still here, trying to reconcile contradictions linked by knowledge. Spiritually speaking, we have always known God. God the good, God the creator, ancient of ancients. The Dogon knew God, gloried in mysteries of God's universe, Sirius B revealed and celebrated. The Kemites knew God, fashioned a godly value system, truth, justice, righteousness, harmony, balance, order, reciprocity, ma'at, divine values for right living. The Yoruba knew God, wisely heeding Odu Ife's instructions, do good, and let none of the good be lost. We must try to reconcile contradictions linked by knowledge. captured Africans knew God. God laid alongside them in the depths of slave ships, giving strength, courage, another day to see. Enslaved Africans knew God, spirit bosom buried, praying, singing, girding themselves, running, resisting, yearning to be free, to be human again. New World Africans knew God. The God force fueled their uprisings, escapes, protest marches, sit-ins, and freedom rides. The God force fueled their accomplishments in spite of odds, obstacles, obstructions. We must reconcile contradictions linked by knowledge. Knowledge. What do we know now? We have a black first family, White House residents, yet racism's scourge persists. How do we reconcile history's hurts, slights, injustices impossible to redress? Spiritually speaking, grapple with the obvious. 'Tis a bitter pill to swallow, forgive, and love one's enemies. Mercy. Yet, radical forgiveness is the only path to healing wounds, deep, destructive, devastating. To be clear, this is a monumental task. It is forgiveness as process, radical, continual, incessant forgiveness. I'm trying to reconcile contradictions linked by knowledge.